all the time. In the meantime, the Trump administration scores a big legal victory from an unlikely source today, and it's bad news for Planned Parenthood and other clinics that perform abortions or refer patients for them and still hope to get your tax dollars in the form of family planning grants. Correspondent Leland Vittert is here with the reaction as the left is calling this decision devastating. Good evening, Leland.
Yeah, and more than devastating in some cases, Shannon. It's hard to underestimate how significant this is. This ruling allows the Trump administration to turn off the family planning money to any medical facility that not only provides abortions, but any facility that provides abortion counseling or abortion referrals. Title X is the government's family planning program, and a lot of the $260 million a year goes to Planned Parenthood, which calls the Trump administration's policy a gag rule. Here is their tweet. Breaking. A federal court just allowed the Title X gag rule to go into effect. This is a devastating blow to the 4 million patients who obtain birth control, cancer screenings, and other essential care through Title X. Now, President Trump made defunding Planned Parenthood a cornerstone of his 2016 campaign, and this is seen by many as an important first step in that fight. Earlier this week, announcing his re-election bid, the president made it clear abortion would be a key part of his 2020 campaign as well.
Virtually every top Democrat also now supports taxpayer-funded abortion right up to the moment of birth, ripping babies straight from the mother's womb. Leading Democrats have even opposed measures to prevent the execution of children after birth.
All right, it's noteworthy, Shannon, as you pointed out, where this victory for the Trump administration came from. The West Coast Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, a normally friendly venue for those opposing the president and his policies.
Okay, Leland, we've got this other case we're following in Missouri. The state there is saying it doesn't want to grant a license to the state's last abortion clinic. They've cited a number of what they say are questions, infractions, potential violations. Where do we stand in that showdown tonight?
Well, we're learning a lot more about how the state of Missouri wants to shut down that Planned Parenthood clinic. Here we go. They allege the clinic performed 3, quote, failed abortions that required additional surgeries, and another led to life-threatening complications for the mother. Planned Parenthood alleges state officials made all of these facts public in violation of patient privacy laws. Anti-abortion group Operation Rescue put the health department records on its website before a circuit judge sealed them because of a request by Planned Parenthood to shield confidential health information. A spokesperson for the Republican governor there verified the accuracy of those documents to the Associated Press. USA Today reports that the clinic is now going to defy a state requirement of 2 separate pelvic exams on women before having abortions, saying it's not medically indicated and, quote, deeply traumatizing and inhumane, Shannon, they say, for their patients.
All right, there is a lot more to that story we're going to try to unpack in the next 24 hours or so. Leland, thank you very much. So let's talk about this Ninth Circuit ruling in favor of the Trump administration. Planned Parenthood calls it an attack on its patients. A 2020 Democratic contender calls it a violation of human rights. For reaction, we are joined by Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar. Great to have you with us, Mr. Secretary.
Great to be here, Shannon.
Okay, so essentially what this does, the Trump administration has a regulation that reroutes money away from clinics that perform abortions or refer for abortions, sends that money to other clinics. You know that critics say the patients are in danger. I'll read a little bit more from Planned Parenthood, saying they won't stand for this attack on millions of people across the country, and that the news out of the Ninth Circuit this morning is devastating for the millions of people who rely on Title X health centers for cancer screenings, HIV tests, affordable birth control, and other critical primary and preventive care. What happens to those people now?
Well, first, let me be really clear. President Trump, Vice President Pence, and I are part of a pro-life administration. We stand for protecting the sanctity of human life from conception until natural death. Part of that is this regulation you mentioned that we put out that prevents these Title X family planning monies from going to supporting the abortion enterprise. For too long, that money has been used to subsidize the provision of abortion, contrary to statute. Congress has said that you cannot support abortion as a method of family planning. We're just finally enforcing it.
Okay, so obviously you hear what Planned Parenthood is saying there. They're not referencing abortion. They're saying, what about the cancer cancer screenings? What about the other things? Senator Gillibrand, who's obviously one of the 2020 contenders, says this: the Trump administration's Title X gag rule, and I know there's debate about calling it that, will deny access to basic reproductive health care for millions of people. I call that a violation of human rights. We will fight back.
Well, I'm not going to talk about her as a candidate, of course, but that's just, it's completely incorrect to say that this in any way impedes service delivery for women or others at our family planning clinics. We have a full range of services. We have fully funded this at $400 million. Planned Parenthood actually only represents 13% of the clinics that provide family planning services under Title X. Interestingly, over the last 8 years, Planned Parenthood, which talks so much about cancer screenings and everything else, cancer screenings and preventive services are down 60% over the last 8 years at Planned Parenthood facilities. We actually have federally qualified health centers and their various affiliates outnumber Planned Parenthood by 20-1, giving a broader reach of services throughout this country in more rural areas, better depth, providing care, preventive services, cancer treatment, HIV treatment, etc. So we are ensuring a broad range of services, but consistent with statute. And of course, Planned Parenthood can and is a grantee under our regulations if they maintain the fiscal and physical separation that the law requires and the other protections that President Trump has imposed here.
Okay, I want to get to a couple of other things. You signed onto a letter to Congress trying to tell them how dire the situation is at the border, the need for funding there to help people who are ill, to help children and others. The letter says this: we continue to experience a